So what I was trying to say was that when you tell your kids and treat them like they don't matter, as far as, well, they just do it because I said so, because this and that, well, because they don't get a choice. Well, what happens is, how do they know when that changes and they are now able to have a choice and a voice and not just do whatever anybody says because they feel like, that's what they're supposed to do? Well, I don't know, I'm used to my parents telling me that. And how do they transition into knowing their worth? Because it's not hard to give a kid a choice. It does not mean that you're giving them some entitlement thing or something where they think they're allowed to say, well, you're going to take me home because I want to. No, that's not how they would turn out, because when you teach them respect by giving them respect, they learn how to give others respect when they receive respect, and they will mirror and reflect that kindness. If you are doing that to them where you're like, well, I'm going to do it because I want to, or you're going to do this because they're only going to act that way when someone else is doing that with them, and they're learning from them when they behave that way and they act that way with their personality and attitude and their outlook on life and the way they appreciate or don't appreciate. That's the only way that happens. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about common courtesy and respect to give a choice. Because if it's a situation where it's 10 minutes away and you show by leading by example, because all people mirror each other, they learn off of each other, they pick up habits and patterns off of each other. While when you are a child and you're around parents who respect each other, parent, child, they will also start to do the same. And if they see, 10 minutes, they're not going to be like, oh, I'm not going to go because I just don't want to. No. 10 minutes, you have to trust them, knowing that they are, considerate people, because they're mirroring and reflecting and portraying and showing that that's who they are and how they are. Give them that opportunity and that chance to do so. Let them actually develop that correctly without assuming it's going to go wrong. Why would you? Why would you assume that? You don't trust that they're going to be able to handle things and know what's right and wrong and what's... The only way they would behave that way is if they were very angry about something, which any kid who feels totally entitled, it's not because their parents gave them a choice or an option and made them feel worthy by respecting them enough to communicate with them and giving them an option or a choice, because most of the time they're going to make the choice of 10 minutes. Yeah, that's fine. Let's go. 10 minutes. They'll go and then go home unless they don't feel good, or there's a reason or something, or they have something going on within them that they really want to go home because maybe they're uncomfortable, they're really tired. There's things like that happen. You don't just assume they're going to feel entitled and decide, take me home because I want to. For one, you should know your kid enough to know whether or not they're in that place or not. And if they are like that and in that place, you should really start figuring out what's going on within them that's creating that, because it's not about the moment. It's about something else. That means you're not paying attention to something else going on where that kid has a lot of built up anger, a lot of frustration. There's something else going on. If they are acting like that, it's not because their parent gave them a choice. It's because the parent or whomever is not paying attention to other things going on and don't really know what's festering inside their child that is creating that kind of attitude. But being respectful and giving them the choice for the 10-minute thing and letting them make that decision on their own to go, or if for whatever reason they decide that 10 minutes is not going to work for them and they decide they don't want to, let's find out what's going on, what that reason is, to even discuss it. That's the discussion. Because if they say no, there's an opportunity to discuss to find out what's going on with them. If it isn't like an obvious illness, they don't feel good or whatever, which a parent should respect if they should already notice that and they would understand. But if not, and they don't want to, and they say no, and they want you to go out of your way and come back for no, well, that's an opportunity to find out what's going on, because there's something else going on with them if they're in that position, which means they probably wants to talk about it. They just don't know how. So when you talk to your children and give them options, it does teach them worthiness and respect, and it helps them learn how to make decisions and be considerate and actually be able to have discussions and communicate effectively with people without being selfish and without being people pleasers, because you don't want them overly selfish and you don't want them overly people pleasing. You want them to be balanced, which is why you communicate. Give them the opportunity to learn how to discuss things. That's what I was trying to say. Not what you were saying. Not at all.